Hello, my name is Jodie and welcome to another video. So today I am going to be telling you guys all about my January TBR. For those of you who don't know, I make nice bookish videos a couple of times a week, so if you like anything bookish then make sure you hit the subscribe button. Yes, let's just get straight into the video. So I have a very big January TBR. I am starting off the year with very ambitious reading goals. I'm hoping to read a lot in January. Whether or not I will, who knows, but I definitely have a lot more time to read than I did in December, and I'm hoping to read as much as I possibly can and really start the year off with a lot of reads. I've set my reading goal as 70 for this year, so I have a lot of reading to be getting done. I have put together a loose TBR just because I know throughout January my mood is going to change and I am a little bit of a mood reader, so I'll probably not pick some of these up and pick other books up. And I also want to get through a lot of graphic novels, but I don't know which ones, so there's only a couple in this TBR, but we shall see throughout the month. I guess you guys will find out what I'm actually reading in my reading vlogs, so definitely look out for those. There's a few graphic novels I know I want to read that I haven't bothered to get off my shelf because quite frankly I'm too lazy, and of course there is some audiobooks I'm hoping to get to that probably aren't in this stack as well, so bear that in mind. But yeah, let's just actually get into it. I'm going to try and keep this in order and do manga, graphic novels and things like that towards the end and just books first. So I actually think this is the book I'm most excited to read for this whole year, except for Sarah J Maas's new book of course, and definitely my favourite one on this TBR because this is one that I've been meaning to get to for the past couple of months now. Heard amazing things from nearly everyone and I just really want to read this because I feel like I'm going to absolutely adore it. But it has been in a previous TBR or two. I just, like I said, haven't gotten to it because it's quite a big book and so is its sequel, so I haven't really had time to sit and read such a big book. But the book I'm talking about is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So like I've said, I've spoken about this before. You probably have seen this book all over YouTube a million times already, but this has basically been pitched as the perfect read for fans of Sarah J Maas, so obviously I really want to read it. But I believe this is a kind of a vampire story, which I had no idea originally, and I just think that's really cool because there isn't really been that many vampire books since Twilight, so I feel like this is going to be something different and something a bit better. I don't know the whole context of the whole vampire thing though, so I might be wrong, but very excited about that element. This is basically an adult fantasy with a ton of romance in, and in this book we follow Poppy, and Poppy is what's called a maiden. She leads a very solitary life. She can't be touched, she can't experience loads of things, like she's off limits to everyone and everything is off limits to her, and she is waiting of the day of her ascension, but rather than being this person she'd actually just rather be one of the guards, like fighting and stuff like that, which is obviously the complete opposite of like a maiden. And it also says in the synopsis that the guards are fighting back the evil that took her family, so I guess there's kind of like a revenge kind of element to the plot in this book as well. But yes, none of these things have ever been her choice to decide. Basically she's kind of been forced into this life and it isn't what she wants at all. But then she meets a guard called Hawk, and Hawk is supposed to kind of guard her and stuff and prepare her for her ascension, but I assume that's probably not what happened. It also says in the synopsis here, forsaken by the gods and feared by mortals, a fallen kingdom is rising once more, determined to take back what they believe is theirs through violence and vengeance. But as the shadow of those cursed draws closer, the line between what is forbidden and what is right becomes blurred. Poppy is not only the verge of losing her heart and being found unworthy by the gods, but also her life when every blood-soaked thread that holds her world together begins to unravel. So this just sounds like a really amazing fantasy romance, and I'm just so excited to read this. I really do hope I love this. It is quite a big book. I'm not sure exactly at what point of the month I'm going to pick this up. I think I want to get in some shorter reads first, but yeah, definitely excited for this one. I absolutely can't wait to just fangirl and become obsessed with these characters, probably fall in love with Hawk as well. Very excited. So next we have a book that was actually gifted to me for Christmas, and I'm very excited about this book. This just sounds really atmospheric and like a little bit dark and like fairy tale-esque, a little bit of romance, just all those things that you like in a good like adult fantasy kind of style book. And I don't know if this is definitely correct, but I think this might have been this author's first book, but I could be wrong. That is The Near Witch by Victoria Schwab. This is quite a short book as well, which is why I want to read it in January, because I feel like it'll be a good book to read but isn't going to bulk up my TBR too much. And yeah, I don't know if by the time I have this video up my Christmas book haul will have gone up, out, but I do talk about it in depth in that video, so if it's not already up, then look out for that one if you want to hear more about it. Yeah, this kind of has like witchy vibes to it, and like superstition, and kind of like supernatural vibe as well. And this is set in a town called Nia, and there's a lot of superstitions about like witches and things like that. And we follow Lexi, and Lexi has kind of grown up with all these stories and all these like folklores and legends and all these scary things. And one day this boy randomly starts to kind of turn up on the moors outside her house, and he sort of like just disappears like smoke, so obviously probably supernatural. And after seeing this, that's when she starts to realise that some of these things might actually have some truth to them. And then the next night, children start disappearing out of their beds, and this guy that she has seen in the moors falls under suspicion as being the culprit. And as the hunt for these missing children kind of gets going, so does Lexi's kind of need to know exactly who this witch is and if there's any truth to all these tales that she's actually grown up with. But yeah, that's kind of the general gist. It's kind of like a fairy tale and romance, and I just think this sounds like really, really good, and I'm just really, really intrigued to read this one. I think it's going to be really fun, and it is quite short, like I said. And I recently read Addie LaRue by Victoria Schwab. I haven't really read any of her other adult books before. I've only read her middle grades, so I definitely want to read more Schwab this year, and I just think this will be really nice to kick off that and start the year with, just because it is quite short. So the next book that I want to try to read, I'm probably going to be listening to this on audio, but that is Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. So the second season of the TV show comes out in a few days, and it is based around this book, I believe. I was supposed to have read this already a while ago. Me and my friend Liv were supposed to do a video, but because of work and the crazy month I had in December, I kind of had to cancel. But I do really want to read this as soon as possible, so we can definitely discuss it together and stuff. And I loved A Discovery of Witches when I read it, so I really, really do want to read this. The only reason I didn't really want to pick this up that much in December was because this has a lot of history in it, this one. It's very historical, and for me, sometimes that can be a little bit difficult for me to get my head around when it comes to the plot, and I have to really, really take every single detail in to understand it. And yeah, for that I need to be able to fully like give this my full attention. So I'm hoping to read it in January, because I should be able to do that. And I'm very, very excited to read it, and I'm so excited for the TV show. It is so good, and I just love Diana, and the TV show is just amazing. I do know they kind of rewrote it a little bit, just because I think it was meant to be 4 seasons and now they've squashed it down to 3. So I don't know how much it will be following the book, but yeah, I guess when I read this and watch the whole season, I'll be able to tell. If you haven't watched Discovery of Witches, highly recommend. One of my favourite TV shows. So, so good. It comes out in the UK on the 9th of January, but I'm not sure about the US. I think it's maybe like a day later or so. Yeah, really, really excited to read this, and hopefully I enjoy it as much as the first book. So next we have a kind of random addition to my TBR, and this is just one that I've had on my shelf for a while and always ummed and ahed about picking up, but I believe this is kind of like a murder mystery, kind of thriller almost kind of vibes, and I don't really read enough of them, and I'm kind of in the mood for one. So I thought, why not add this to my TBR? It doesn't look too long either. I think I'll be able to get through this quite quickly. But the book that I'm talking about is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I love this cover as well. I think it's absolutely stunning. But this book takes place in a private school in Vermont, and I already love the sound of the setting. I love things like this. I just think they're so interesting, and it really kind of gives it a really cool mood for the whole book. I'll quickly read the synopsis because I can't remember the whole synopsis, and I think there's like important details in here I'll probably miss if I try to explain it. But it says basically it was founded by Albert Ellingham, an early 20th century tycoon who wanted to make a wonderful place of riddles, twisting pathways and gardens. A palace, he said, where learning is a game. In 1936, shortly after the school opened, Ellingham's wife and daughter Iris and Alice were kidnapped. The only real clue was a mocking riddle listing methods of murder signed with the frightening pseudonym Truly Devious. It becomes one of the great crimes of American history. Something like that could never happen again, of course. Then we have Stevie Bell, who is about to start her first year at this school, and she has this really, really ambitious plan that she's going to try and figure out exactly what happened to the wife and daughter. And it says that something surprising happens, and there's a lot of twists and turns, and Truly Devious makes a surprise return, and death revisits Ellingham Academy. The past has crawled out of its grave. Someone has gotten away with murder. So this just sounds like such a good murder mystery, and I'm just really, really excited. I have heard really good things about this series, and it sounds like it might be quite an underrated series. So I'm very, very excited to give it a go and see if I enjoy this. But I don't really read a lot of murder mysteries, so I think this is just going to be really, really fun to read in January and a little bit different for me. So next we have another book that is in my Christmas book haul. I'm so excited for this, and I really want to read a lot more middle grades this year, and I am trying to kick the year off by doing that. I'm literally like unbelievably excited for this book. This book just screams me. The book I'm talking about is The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and this is by Kelly Barnhill. So I'm so excited to read this. This has such a good plot to me, and it has everything I love in a middle grade. It's got like witchy vibes in here. We've got a girl who's literally got powers from the moon. I love the moon, as you can tell by my username as well. Her name is Luna. There's this cute little dragon thing. Like everything I want in a middle grade seems to be in this book. I'm so excited. Basically, we have this like town, and every single year they kind of sacrifice or like give over a baby to this witch that lives in the forest. They all think this witch is really evil, and she's like sacrificing babies, so they give her these babies to try and like appease her and stuff, so that she won't come and terrorize their town. Little do they know, she's actually a really, really nice person and not what they think she is. And she gives these babies starlight, and then passes them over to families on the other side of the forest who like look after them and love them and nurture them and so on. And one day she receives this little girl baby, and she accidentally gives her moonlight instead of starlight, and this gives this child extraordinary abilities and magic. And then when she becomes 13, that's when all these powers and magic start to rise in her. Her name is Luna, and the witch has brought her up as her own daughter. Then a guy from the town decides he wants to go in and kill this witch once and for all. He wants to get rid of her and kind of protect his town from her. He decides to do this, and then we have some other darker things coming into play. So that's kind of the general synopsis. I'm assuming that Luna will be the one to stop him, prove the witch is innocent and nice, and also kind of save everyone generally from this oncoming darkness that seems to be arising. So yeah, very excited for this. I just think this sounds absolutely fantastic. I've heard so many good things about this, and I'm just literally living for this cover as well. Yeah, as you can tell, very excited about this one. Next up is a book that has previously been on a couple of TBRs. It's one I very briefly started in December on my way home from work one day. I literally read like 10 pages maybe. I'm on chapter 2, I think. I haven't actually picked this up for a couple of weeks now, so I'm hoping to revisit it later in the month. But the book that I'm talking about is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I think I've spoken about this enough times in videos now for you guys to kind of have a good sense of what this book is about. I believe it's kind of like a dark academia-esque book. It's set in a school. We've got monsters and like powers and all different stuff like that. And yeah, I'm just really excited to get to this one. I'm not going to go into it again. Myonna from Myonna Reads absolutely loves this book. It is one of her favourite books of 2020, and I've heard so many good things about it, and I just really want to read it because it does sound amazing, and I really do love all that kind of dark academia vibe and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to really enjoy it. But from the first chapter that I have read, I'm not really vibing with the writing too much, so I just hope as I get further into the book I start to like the writing a bit more. But yeah, I'm still really excited to read this, and obviously because I have started it, I do want to read it now in January. Next up is a book that you will all know that I already love, and this is a reread, and I'm already started it and loving it, of course. And I don't know if you guys will be aware, you might have heard me talk about it already, or if not, basically I'm hosting what's called a Throne of Glass read along. So this will be happening throughout months of this year. We're reading one book a month from this series, and I'm co-hosting that along with Steph, Molly and Sid. I'll have all of their YouTube channels linked down below, along with their announcement videos for the readathon. Very excited because you all know I love Sarah J Maas. She is just my favourite author. Love her, love all of her books, and I am just so excited for this read along. So we are rereading the whole series. The book I'm talking about is The Assassin's Blade. So I read this about 3 years ago, I think was when I first read this. I haven't actually reread this before, so I'm really excited to be reading it for the second time again. This book is basically a prequel to the Throne of Glass series, and this kind of has like, I can't remember how many stories. I think I want to say like 5 maybe. I might be wrong, it might be less or more, but this has like, let's say 4 or 5 stories that are all like kind of short stories, but they're all chronological, so each one kind of leads on from the next, and then we have like the conclusion that happens just before Throne of Glass starts. So yeah, and this book broke me last time. The ending, really, really heartbreaking, and I'm dreading it because I know I'm gonna cry and it's gonna crush me. But at the same time, I'm so happy to be back in this world. I love Selena, our main character. She's just a badass. She's so funny and quirky, and she does have a lot of those typical YA tropes, but I just absolutely love her. And she's a huge bookworm, and like I even underlined like one of the first lines in this book because I was like, I can relate so much. But like this one here, perhaps if you hadn't been reading all night you wouldn't be so exhausted. It's literally me. Love it. Yeah, I just absolutely love this character. I love this world. I love everything about it. So happy to be rereading this again. Yeah, I'm not going to go into detail what this is about because I feel like this is one of the most talked about series on BookTube. You'll all be familiar with it. If you're not, I'm sure you can go and look it up. But yeah, this is basically kind of like a prequel to the series, and I'm just obsessed, and I'm so happy to be rereading it. So next we have another book that's probably going to look very, very terrifying to you guys because it is a chunky book. Don't worry, don't plan to read all of this in January at all. I don't know if I'm a fan of classics. I have tried the odd one, and for me, like the dense kind of classic writing style, I just do not get on with. I just cannot for the life of me read it. I find it so difficult. But then again, I haven't really tried a lot of classics. I've never read any Jane Austen. However, the 2005 Pride and Prejudice movie, love it to death. One of my favourite movies, obsessed. Just love it. Me and my friend Caitlin were talking, and we have decided we are going to be doing a buddy read of Pride and Prejudice. She is the queen of classics. She loves them, and yeah, you do not need to look for any other YouTubers when it comes to classics because Caitlin is your girl. So I'll have her channel linked down below. Make sure you go and subscribe to her. But yeah, anyway, we are going to be buddy reading Pride and Prejudice. Very excited because like I said, I've never read any Jane Austen before, and I love the movie, and it's one book that I've always wanted to read, never have. My reading goal last year was to try and read 5 classics. I don't think I even read one. So if I can read a classic in the first month of the year, I will be very, very happy. I'm planning to read Pride and Prejudice, and hopefully I can manage to actually read it. I'm going to attempt to physically read it. If I struggle with that, I'll pick it up on audio, but yeah, I'm very, very excited to give this a go and see how I feel about Jane Austen. Okay, so now we've got some graphic novels and manga, so I'll just start with the manga. So I have a lot of manga I want to get to this month, but I'm only going to talk about 2 because I don't want this video to be really long. But the first one is Tokyo Ghoul Vol 1. So I have been watching, well, I say watching, binging Tokyo Ghoul on Netflix, the anime obviously. Absolutely obsessed with it. I really, really love it, and obviously now I really want to pick up the manga. So this isn't the RE one, this is just the Tokyo Ghoul Volume 1. I'm very, very excited because I just, yeah, like I said, I really, really enjoy the anime. It's so fun. I've even got my boyfriend watching it now, which if you guys knew him is a big deal because he does not like anime or cartoons or anything. So I'm just really, really excited to pick this up, and it isn't too long, and obviously I think I'm gonna love it. Then next is another manga that I did actually start in December and just have put down and not picked up since. There's not really any reason for that. I've just not really been in the mood for it. It's Orange Volume 1. So I've spoken about this already in my previous videos, so I'm not going to go into it again. Basic premise of it is just that this girl receives a letter from her future self telling her to protect the new guy in class, and we go from there. So yeah, I think I'm about 100 pages in, maybe a bit less. I haven't read that much at all, but I was really, really enjoying this when I started it. I just wasn't in the mood for a really long manga. Obviously, as you can see, this is a thick one. But yeah, I really, really want to finish this month, and then I think I might also pick up a Junji Ito for the first time because I've been meaning to do that for a while, but we shall see if I finish this one first. Yeah, that's the mangas that I plan to read in January. And then I have a couple of graphic novels here. These are just my like YA easy read graphic novels, but I do have some other ones I want to read, like Monstrous as a reread, but I'm not including it in the TBR because I don't know if I will. The first one is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. So this just got released as a graphic novel. Read this book a few years ago and I loved it when I read it at the time. Obviously, I don't know if my feelings have changed about it now because it was so long ago. But me and my friend Danny are going to be buddy reading this. So excited to read this with her. I will have her channel linked down below. You should definitely go and subscribe to her because she is the loveliest person and I love her. But yeah, very, very excited to buddy read this with her because like I said, I haven't read this for a few years now, so it'll be interesting to reread it but in a graphic novel format, and it will just be a nice, fun and easy read. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it because from what I remember, this kind of has fanfic in there. It's a bit nerdy and I'm just looking forward to reading that kind of fun, kind of quirky kind of story. And then lastly, I have a DC Ink graphic novel. So this is Beast Boy, and this is by Cami Garcia and Gabrielle Piccolo. So yeah, this is literally just Beast Boy, who is one of the Teen Titans, I think. I'm pretty sure he's a Teen Titan. I'm very, very excited to read this. I really love the look of the art style. I have nearly all of the DC Ink graphic novels now, so I'm making my way through them. I've already read a few already, and I really, really like them. They're just really, really fun, and I think I actually prefer these to the just straight up DC comic books. I'm very excited to get to Beast Boy, and I think Beast Boy Loves Raven, I think, comes out soon, which looks absolutely amazing. I do have the Teen Titans Raven DC Ink graphic novel as well, so if I finish this one, I'll probably pick that one up as well this month. But I'm very, very excited for that because it looks so good. So I really want to read Beast Boy, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So that is everything that is on my January TBR. It's a very ambitious one, and one that's definitely not set in stone yet. I'm still kind of toying about with it, but for now this is kind of what I've picked out. Very, very excited to read some of these, and I just can't wait to read From Blood and Ash and to finish Assassin's Blade. I just know that as soon as I finish Assassin's Blade, I'm going to want to read Throne of Glass, but I need to wait till next month for that one. But yeah, like I said, I will have the Throne of Glass read along info linked in the description box. It'd be really, really fun if some of you guys wanted to join in with us. We are just going to be reading the books, no pressure, one book a month. We'll chat about it online. We're going to do some live shows as well, so it'll be really, really fun. And yeah, if you like Sarah J Maas, you want to reread, or you haven't read the series before, now's your chance to join in and have a bit of fun with it. So all that info will be linked in the description bar. I will have all of my social medias along with my Amazon wishlist link down below, and all the people that I've also mentioned in this video. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please do let me know in the comments what you plan to read in January and what your reading goal for the year is. If you did like it as well, please do give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to watch more bookish content from me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!